A woman found herself blocked at an ATM by a man, but little did she know that her retired police dog was about to do something astonishing. Let's delve into the surprising turn of events. Transitioning from a small, sheltered town to a bustling big city can be an intimidating experience, especially when you spent your entire life in that cozy little community. Sandra was raised in a picturesque small town, where her father held the esteemed position of chief of police, making her family well respected and known throughout the area. As the sweetheart of the town, Sandra was adored by everyone. During her teenage years, she even ran a small dog-walking business, reflecting her love for animals. The town was so safe that kids could roam freely and play without constant parental supervision. As she grew older, Sandra began babysitting and tutoring local children. It was through tutoring that she discovered her true passion: teaching. While she had initially considered a career in veterinary work due to her fondness for animals, the joy of enlightening young minds proved irresistible. Witnessing the moment when a child grasped a new concept and gained understanding of the world around them filled her with immense satisfaction. She knew teaching was her calling, and she was determined to pursue it for a lifetime. Upon completing her schooling, Sandra enrolled in a nearby university to become a teacher. The setup allowed her to commute from her family home, maintaining the comfort and familiarity of her small-town roots. After years of dedicated study, she was excited to embark on practical training as a student teacher at a school. In their country, you couldn't pick where you would go, and it was very difficult to get your school changed. That's why the entire family and the entire village waited with bated breath to find out where Sandra was going to spend the next few months. They all loved her dearly, and they were worried about her going out on her own for the first time. Then they got the news. Sandra was going to teach in a big city in a neighborhood that was not the best. It was an area that had a lot of crime and where the students didn't have a lot of opportunities. In some ways, Sandra was excited about the opportunity. She could teach in a place where she could make a difference, but her family was scared. She had lived in the town her entire life, and the town had almost no crime. Her father made sure his children knew how to defend themselves, but still, Sandra didn't have a lot of street smarts. They weren't sure if she would be able to handle living and working in an area that wasn't completely safe. It was way too far to live at home, so she was going to have to move. They searched for places, and in an area that was a bit safer, Sandra found a nice little house with a pretty garden. It felt like home, and she loved it straight away. Her father would have preferred if she lived in a building with security, but she was stubborn and wasn't going to back down. She would put up more safety features, but this house was going to be her home while she was there. Then the garden gave her father a good idea. He made a few calls and found just what he was looking for. A police dog from a neighboring city was set to retire. Her partner's family couldn't keep him, and they were now looking for homes for the dog. He was a beautiful German shepherd named Bear. As a police dog, he had gone through vigorous training, and to qualify, he had to be smart. He would also be loyal. Plus, the fact that he needed a home was a bonus. Sandra would never be able to say no to giving a dog a family. Her father was right, and soon Sandra was meeting Bear and taking him home. She expected a dog that would always be on guard and never quite become a pet, but what she got was a lovable goofball who was going to enjoy his retirement. He loved to snuggle up to her on the couch and sleep in her bed. He was very protective, but he would inspect someone and calm down as soon as he felt they weren't a threat. Sandra was taught some of his most basic commands, but while he could protect her, she was just happy to have him as a companion. Because he was such a well-trained dog, the school allowed Sandra to bring him in with her every day, and he was always by her side. This gave her parents a lot more peace of mind. Sandra thought that she would just be getting through her time at the school and then moving on, but she was surprised at how much she enjoyed teaching children who had many disadvantages. It was inspiring. There were many children that had to face loads of challenges to get to school, but they were there every day, and they worked hard to change their lives. Bear also loved all the love and attention he got from the students. There were some that made sure they didn't bring their backpacks too close to the former police dog, but for the most part, they all loved having him around. One day the school was having a sports day and all the teachers had to stay later than normal. Sandra had noticed that one of her students had seemed to become much thinner and pale. Now she saw the same young girl looking at the food stands hungrily. But when the girl saw her watching, she immediately turned away. Sandra caught up with her, and after some gentle questions, the girl admitted that she hadn't eaten for a while because her mother had lost her job. Sandra quickly bought her something to eat and promised that they would contact someone that could help the family, but since it was the weekend, Sandra knew that it was unlikely that they could reach anyone at the social service offices for a couple of days. Faced with a dilemma, she couldn't abandon the girl without any food for the weekend, but she had no more cash to spare. Her car was blocked by other vehicles, making it impossible to retrieve. With determination, she opted to walk a few blocks to the gas station, where an ATM awaited. Although it was getting dark, the presence of Bear by her side provided some reassurance. However, as she ventured a block or two, a group of young men began catcalling her. Sensing Bear tensing up, Sandra knew trouble might be brewing. While the men hesitated to come too close, likely wary of the protective dog, Sandra noticed they were under the influence of alcohol. Hurrying her pace, she firmly held onto Bear's leash, while instinctively instructing him to protect her, though it wasn't necessary since Bear was already in full protection mode. Sandra couldn't help but worry about the situation. As Sandra approached the gas station, a sense of unease washed over her, aware of someone trailing behind her. Nervously queuing up to withdraw cash, the person behind her crept closer, causing her anxiety to spike. Suddenly he closed in, blocking her escape route entirely, an alarming moment that prompted an astonishing reaction from Bear, her retired police dog. Bear's instinct kicked in and he began to growl, scrutinizing the man before him. To everyone's surprise, the tension diffused as Bear sniffed the man and inexplicably relaxed. Sandra watched in bewilderment as the man reciprocated, patting Bear's head with a smile. Though panic initially gripped her, she sensed the man's realization that she was frightened and that he had inadvertently obstructed her path. Apologizing, the man explained he had been engrossed in his phone and had failed to notice his intrusion. As it turned out, he was a local cop attending his brother's competition at the school. Bear's remarkable judgment had assessed him as trustworthy, reassuring Sandra. Laughingly, Sandra clarified the misunderstanding about other men, realizing he had no connection with them. For a moment, her legs trembled with adrenaline, but she decided not to disclose the encounter to her father. Later, the three of them strolled back to school, and Sandra was able to assist her student. The day concluded with a happy ending, demonstrating once more Bear's exceptional ability to read people, an unwavering protector to have by her side at all times. What do you think about this brave dog? Let us know in the comments section. Thank you.